Hi there, friends. It's your boy Brian, coming back at you with a quick one. I was working on a different video, and by working I mean mainly just noodling, and I realized that I need a distinction that I haven't really talked about that would become an extended digression in that context, so why not just make a little standalone video on it? Get that out there, get our intellectual frameworks in place, we'll be good to go. That's where we are today. Today we're talking about the difference between an event and an experience. So an event is a happening out there in the universe. Stuff goes on. Information about said goings on reaches the ends of our nervous system, goes through some processing, gets turned into sense perception. At that point, all of our beliefs, assumptions, expectations, and the sum total of all of our responses to previous similar events over the course of our life get incorporated into the experience that we have in response to those events. So there's a lot of information processing that happens before even the barest bits of information about the events make it sort of percolate up through our information processing layers and start to impinge upon our consciousness. But at that point, a bunch more processing has to happen to produce something that becomes an experience, and it's the experiences that make up our life. And that's really important because the world's really big, and very often we don't have a lot of power to change the events of the world, but we have a tremendous amount of power to change our experience of the events of the world, because the bulk of our experience is not actually tightly coupled to the events. It's actually not what happened out there, but what we brought into that determines how our life unfolds, what our subjective experience is of this crazy set of circumstances that we call the world. So a metaphor that I came up with while kind of noodling this idea over was that it's like the difference between stock and soup. If you tell me I've got some chicken stock and I'm going to make a soup, then I need a lot more information to know what the final product is going to be, because chicken stock can get turned into a whole bunch of different soups. And that's sort of how it is with events and experience. Even if I knew with perfect accuracy what the events of a circumstance were, that wouldn't be nearly enough information to tell me how it was experienced by the people who were present for that event. And in fact, there will be as many experiences as there are people. And those may diverge wildly. So one of my favorite exercises for this is simply to ask people to think of a memorable experience from their life that was shared, other people were around, write the story of that experience, and then get someone else who was present to tell you what their experience was. And I guarantee you it's going to be remarkably different. And sort of the more memorable, the more different it's going to be, because people choose, out of this stream of incoming information about the events, different things to focus on based upon how they're wired up, what their past experience has been, etc., etc., and expand upon that into wildly divergent experiences. And again, I definitely made this point a bunch of times. Being conscious of the amount of processing that goes into building up an experience makes it very possible to be understanding when other people have different experiences, because other people are definitely going to have different experiences, and your experience isn't right and their experience isn't wrong. They're just different, because one event will always give rise to many different experiences. That's what we should expect if we're making conscious use of this distinction and using it to clarify our understanding. So I think that's it. I had another metaphor, but I can't remember what it was. It completely slipped my mind. It's been a challenged bit of a life experience over here as far as the cognitive function is concerned. Still having a good time, but not always a productive time. So once in a while things come in and they're very nice, and then they pop directly out of my head. But keep in mind this distinction, more to come on that, soon, and start looking out for it in your life. Where are places where perhaps you've made the assumption that the experience that you're having is the same as the experience that everyone is having? And what does it look like if you make the more generous assumption that everybody's having their own experiences, and those are all valid and significant and important, and maybe something that you should be on the lookout for? Record. Let's stop this guy. Start it again. And we'll just keep trying. Till such time. Till such time. Till such time. As we got some stuff. Till such time. Till such time. Till such time. As we got some stuff. At some time in the future, we will have got some stuff. It's going to be glorious. It's going to be great. Content. Yeah. We got this. History will probably tell that we did not got this. But for the moment, I believe. So,